Hello there, friends. It's Mr. Matt here with your Sunday school activity for this week. And you can see we're back in Mr. Matt's kitchen for a kitchen activity. So you just need a few things for today's activity. You're going to need a clear bowl of some sort that's got a secure lid that you can put on it. And it can be a plastic bowl like this, or you can use a jar, or even a Ziploc bag can work for you. And you're also going to need some heavy cream from the store. And you're just going to take a little bit of that heavy cream and you're going to pour it into your container. I filled mine up about halfway. And then I'm going to push down hard and put the lid down nice and tight. So I have my bowl like this. And then I'm going to just start shaking. And I'm going to shake this for a while. And you might want to set a timer so that you know that you'll be shaking this for 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, depending on how much of the cream you put into the container. And so you just are going to keep on shaking. And while you do, you can talk with one another about the story that we've been talking about, the story of Saul becoming Paul. And how he had an encounter with Jesus on the road to Damascus and was blinded, and he had to listen to new instructions and had to do some things differently. And you can quiz each other on that. You can just talk about it and make sure you remember the story really, really well. But while you're doing that, just keep shaking. And you can change hands, and you can change the way you shake it up, and you can pretend it's a maraca, a musical instrument, whatever you want to do, but just keep shaking it. And as time passes, like right now, if you shake it and listen to it, you can hear the liquid sloshing around in there. You can hear it moving around. But in time, as you keep shaking it, you're going to notice that things will start to change. You're going to notice that it doesn't slosh around quite as much anymore. And when you're listening to it, it starts to sound a little more solid. And that lets you know that your kitchen experiment is working. And then eventually you'll shake it and you won't hear much liquid moving around at all. It won't sound like anything. And when that happens, that will tell you that you're done and you can open up your container. If you look at it, you'll see it looks a little different inside. Instead of being partway full, it looks pretty full in there. When you open it up and take a look inside, you'll see you don't have a liquid anymore. You have a solid. It's become whipped cream. And you can taste that if you like, and there's no sugar in it, so it's just regular, straight up whipped cream. But you'll notice that it's different. And what you put into the container to begin with has changed because everything has been shaken up so much. Now, we did this experiment to help us remember the Saul to Paul story. Because at the beginning of the story, Saul is doing exactly what he thinks he's supposed to do. He is making sure that people are doing what they are supposed to be doing in his eyes when it comes to worshiping God and following God. He doesn't want to hear about what Jesus did. He doesn't think that Jesus is the Son of God, so he's persecuting Christians. He's arresting them and he's hurting them. Until God shakes up his life. Until God says to him, no, and he has the encounter with Jesus. And that's when things start shaking up for Paul, or for Saul, because he's blinded. And he has to follow instructions to go to Damascus to find a certain person who will help him to have his sight restored. And then he has to go to the Christians that he was persecuting and tell them, look, I now believe in Jesus and I need to learn more. So Saul's world is turned all upside down over and over again until he becomes a new person. He becomes a new creation as a Christian. And he goes on to become one of the great evangelists of the early church, spreading the good news about Jesus all over the world. So we did this experiment, and we talked about how sometimes God shakes things up for Saul so that he could become Paul, the evangelist. But sometimes God shakes things up for us too. So maybe after you have a sample of your whipped cream, you can talk over with your family about times where things have been shaken up a little bit, but talk about how God has used that time to make things better or to bring people closer to Him. So, well, that's our activity for today. Hope you have fun with the whipping cream. And if you decide to do the experiment again and you want to have it as part of a snack later on, you can have it as it is. Or you can throw just a little bit of sugar in there before you start shaking it up. And that'll make a sweet cream for you to have. But a little kitchen fun for you today. Okay, until next time, bye-bye for now.